Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Andrew Kuipo, and today I'm going to be talking about Alaska summer travel. I'm going to let you guys know what you can expect during Alaska's largest season. So let's jump to it. I'm going to start off by saying that Alaska is massive. It's actually twice the size of Texas, and it would take you years to see the entire state. I was born and raised in Alaska, and I've probably only have seen 10% of what Alaska has to offer. And I'm someone who is a little bit not so much your average Alaskan in a sense of I get out, I'm exploring, I'm hiking and visiting other parts of the states, I'm flying to other parts of the state. So just know that when I talk about Alaska, I'm speaking in general because there are places that are so spread apart that they can be drastically different in terms of weather, in terms of climates, in terms of what you might wear in one part of Alaska versus another part of Alaska. And that's just how big it actually is. I can almost guarantee you that by the end of your week-long stay in Alaska, you're gonna see more of the state than most of us Alaskans that actually live here. It's crazy. So let's start off by talking about the weather in Alaska. Weather in Alaska is going to be the best during the months of June, July, and August. This is when the temperatures are the warmest. It's actually really crazy because a lot of people think that Alaska is just this giant ice block, and it's not. There are places in interior Alaska, like Fairbanks, for instance, that actually reach 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And all across the board, because of where Alaska sits, its longitude is so far up north that it's going to feel 10 degrees warmer on top of that. So yes, to everyone's misconception, Alaska gets really hot, and especially to us locals, because all winter long we're so used to very cold temperatures that the summers can be insane. And summers are just getting warmer and warmer. So you have places in Alaska like retail stores that have actually been selling out of air conditioning units. Last year, I believe it was, where there was a massive line waiting outside Costco because they knew that the air conditioning units were going to be in, and so everybody was in line before the store was opening just to get their hands on these things. That's how hot it was in Alaska. So you're going to be feeling like it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Alaska, and you're going to be out there wearing your t-shirts, your tank tops, and might as well bring your flippy floppies because that's the kind of thing that's happening in Alaska during the summer. I always recommend people to visit during July. It's actually my favorite time of the year. One of the reasons mainly is because of how hot it is. And temperatures are really pleasant. If you're coming from another state or out of the country, you'll find that summers in Alaska are really nice. And a lot of people who visit Alaska in the summertime always want to come back. It's quite a difference between visiting in the wintertime because when people move to Alaska during the wintertime, we always like to say, like, congratulations, you made it through, because it is that drastic of a difference to move to Alaska in the summertime when it's nice and warm, there's lots of daylight, in comparison to coming in the wintertime when it's cold, it's dark, it's rough. It is a long winter season. But if you get through that, props to you, because you are gonna be a lifelong Alaskan after that. The most important thing to know about the weather in Alaska is that it's very unpredictable. So my best piece of advice, or any Alaskan will tell you, to make sure to bring your layers. They are gonna save you in a lot of different situations. The best thing is always to have enough options for clothing to layer up if you need to, because you can always take those layers off. It makes a huge difference in any type of activity you're gonna be doing in Alaska. The next best thing about Alaska is the hours of daylight. This is my favorite thing about Alaska. In the days that surround summer solstice, we're getting 24 hours of daylight, and it is amazing. This basically means that I can go to work, I can get home from work, and I can go out and hike for a few hours and get back home, and it is still daylight. It is the coolest thing ever, and I always think that everybody who visits Alaska needs to experience this. The downside to this, of course, is sleeping. So because of all the daylight during the summertime, it can be a little bit more difficult to sleep and adjust to that sunshine or light coming through the window. So Alaskans, we actually use blackout curtains in our bedrooms to try to just make our rooms as pitch black as possible so that we're able to sleep. But honestly, because of our summers being so short, we're not even really trying to sleep. You know, we want to go out there and experience everything that Alaska has to offer while we can. We're out there fishing for our salmon, we're out there biking and backpacking our through trails, hiking the mountains, we're out on the water, on the rivers, on the lakes. We have massive canoe systems. We're staying in cabins in remote areas. We're drinking beer on the deck, doing yoga in the park. Just there's so many activities that Alaska has to offer. So let's just start talking about that. My favorite thing to do in Alaska during the summertime is hiking. There are so many different trails all over the state. We actually have 8 national parks, and within there's so much backcountry that you can go and explore on your own. There are 4 national parks in Alaska that are easier to access. You can access them by the road system. And there are 4 national parks that you have to fly into. So it really depends on what kind of experience you're looking for. But there's definitely a lot to offer. If you're not interested in hiking by yourself, there are definitely a lot more trails that have a lot more traffic on them during the summertime. But it's really easy to escape that. My next favorite activity to do in Alaska is biking, and with that comes bike packing as well. There are tons of biking trails in Alaska. We have a lot of single tracks as well. A very popular spot in Anchorage actually is Kincaid Parks, and you'll find a lot of people out there mountain biking, really awesome trails over there. But all over the state, there's so much to offer. You know, you want to get onto the water, there's great trips to do outside of Seward. You can get out into Kachemak Bay, you can get over to Kayakers Cove, you can get out to Halibut Cove. A really great canoe system in the Kenai Peninsula if you're looking to go on a portage trip, multi-day. There's, you know, so many options to do something like that. Fishing is huge if you're looking to get salmon or rainbow trout or Dolly Varden or catch some big old halibut. All of that is possible, you know, traveling in Alaska. Glaciers are awesome as an activity to do in the summertime. One of the easiest glaciers to get to is Matanuska Glacier. Make sure if you're traveling within these areas that you are familiar with that kind of terrain. It's very different and it can be very, very dangerous. Very unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen, and accidents do happen. So always be prepared and know where you're going and know what you're doing and what you're getting yourself into, because it's going to make a huge difference in your experience between a good trip and a bad trip in Alaska. Summer travel in Alaska is also going to be the busiest time to visit Alaska. And with that, it's also going to be the most expensive time to visit. So you'll find that accommodations increase in price as well as activities. But on the bright side of that, you'll find that Alaska has a lot more events to offer during this time. You can find things like yoga in the park in downtown Anchorage. You can find the Blueberry Festival that happens in Girdwood every year. There are also a lot of concerts that are happening during this time, so you may stumble upon one. A lot of local bands play in bars and parks and other places all around the state. I know you guys have been waiting for this one. Let's talk about wildlife. Summertime in Alaska is the best time to see wildlife. You have a lot of different tour operators that start to open mid-May. So what this means is that if you're interested in going whale watching, this is a time when you're able to do it. So if you're trying to see orcas or humpback whales or stellar sea lions or sea otters or a variety of birds like puffins and others, then you definitely want to go on a whale watching cruise. There are also bear viewing tours, the ones that leave from Homer and go to places like Katmai National Park or Lake Clark National Park. These are also the tours that start mid-May. That's when our tourist season begins. If you're looking to see moose, you can see them all over the state of Alaska. They're pretty easy to find, but you never know depending on the day. But they're crossing the roads of downtown Anchorage. They're in parks. They're sleeping in the neighbor's yard. They're actually everywhere, but they are super, super cool to see if you've never seen one before. They are massive animals, which makes them so mesmerizing to watch. But make sure if you do see any wildlife, including moose, bears, and other animals, that you always treat them with respect, keep your distance, and know what to do in case something happens. These animals are wild and they're also very protective, especially when they have cubs or calves around them. They become a lot more dangerous, and you always want to be prepared and know how to handle those situations as best as you can and as safely as possible. Driving in Alaska is actually crazy all year long, I think. During the summertime, when it's peak tourist season, there are so many people on the road, especially the Seward Highway. And the Seward Highway is actually one of the most dangerous roads in the world. There are so many people driving it, and a lot of people are very distracted because of how scenic it actually is. You have mountains on one side of you, you have a body of water on the other side of you while you're driving, and especially if it's a bluebird day, it is gorgeous. You can see different kinds of wildlife like mountain goats and bald eagles and potentially beluga whales all in the same area. So it becomes a very distracted drive. And on top of that, you have people who might be coming back to Anchorage from places like Homer, which are 4.5 hours away driving, that might be really tired after a very long weekend. And all of these different combinations, these factors, make this highway really, really dangerous. So just always be aware of where and when you're driving in Alaska, and know that accidents do happen along these roads and you could be stuck for a couple hours, even more. One of the other biggest differences of traveling to Alaska in the summertime is going to be the small towns. During the summertime, all of these small towns come to life. You have places like Talkeetna or Whittier or the Homer Spit, and they have all of these tourist shops that don't actually open until mid-May. And then when the winter comes, they close down for the season. So you have all these places that are open and a flock of tourists coming in. And on top of that, all of us locals really enjoy these places too. We're out there drinking and dancing and enjoying the local music that often happens during the summertime. So I hope that I've made you really excited about traveling to Alaska this summer, and I also hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe below. Hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. See you guys next week. They're bursting and all of their... Okay.